This video exists because of all your support, and in a way, so does this little message in the beginning. As most of you know, I wrote and published Stibble's Codex last year, with backers receiving their copies as we speak. So this year, I'm gonna do it again, and I'm launching another Kickstarter at the 1st of next month. The Seeker's Guide to Twisted Taverns is a massive project compared to Stibble's, for a number of reasons. First off, the content. It'll have 14 to 16 taverns and inns, each close to 20 pages packed and laced with new ideas. Monsters, characters, lore, mechanics, activities, random items, magic, everything. There's going to be so many new dives that we're taking with this project, and a few that we already have. So if you'd like to check it out, keep updated by following the link below. And keep an eye out for the moment that February turns over, because there's going to be an explosion of content. Enjoy video. Welcome to a video about dwarves, a wonderful race of subsurface people where the men are stout, the women are stacked, and everyone has beards. Dwarves stand much shorter than 5 feet. It says right here, which is to say that they're between 4 and 5 feet. How insulting is that to a dwarf who's like 4'11"? I mean, I stand well below 8 feet. Don't actually measure me. Regardless of their perfectly respectable ability to reach most things without needing a stool, they're still heavier than you'd think. A dwarf is built more like a wombat than a koala, where it's a compressed ball of dense muscle instead of fat and poison. They are still full of poison though. I think the average dwarf drinks so much that you could take a shot of their noodle water and get a buzz. Dwarven culture kinda stems from their behavior, and vice versa. First off, their clans. This is like the planted seed of why they're all grumpy little dickheads. Dwarven families are pretty extensive, and they all have long histories of making babies or fighting off invaders. So they take to the culture of clans, tight family groups where what your ancestors did is arguably more important than anything that you'll ever do. Even though before they accomplished anything, they had ancestors that they thought were cooler. So every action a dwarf takes is usually done in a way to honor the name of their clan, their brothers and sisters, and their ancestors. As a part of this vicious cycle, we introduce another aspect of their culture, greed and Minecraft. Dwarves swarm and tunnel inside of mountains like a bunch of ants, spending countless hours of each generation's lifetime just pressing W and holding mouse 1. And when they find that juicy gold and some sick old diamonds, they bring it back to their leader's pile and then get right back to work. Dwarven citadels exist because a handful of people stuck their pick into a mountain, and then nobody wanted to leave, so 5 generations later they have giant smelted structures of iron, copper, and brass, each hallway made 100 feet tall, which is an insane waste of resources, and kind of insulting to their normal height of so much less than 5 feet. Is that why they make like 30-foot tall statues? Oh yeah, a detail I forgot to mention that puts a neat little bow on their agoraphobia. They live for like 400 years apiece. So greedy, conservative, traditionalist family clans that hide in giant structures made of precious resources. That's your existence, picking a fight with everything else in the world. This is where we introduce goblins and orcs, invasive slavers who like gold and warmongers who really like giant strongholds. As time goes on, which it's known to do, goblins caught wind of the dwarven hordes and they started banging like crazy until there were 10 goblins for every dwarf, and they caused a bit of havoc here and there. But they're really bad at attacking when they don't have the home front, so their KDA was like 1 to 14, but a dwarf never forgets, and an elephant never forgives. So a long-standing racial fight is just there now. Oh yeah, also orcs, they swarmed the dwarves' favorite hideouts, like the biggest and the coolest ones, and then they wiped out about 70% of the global dwarvish population and drank all their top-shelf whiskey. Both actions that are unforgivable. So the dwarves were out on the streets for 250 years or so, but then the Hobbit movie came out, so they got inspired and they took their houses back. I think it's really funny that they collect their insane hordes of wealth and make flawless weapons and giant strongholds, and then they expect to just be respected and left alone. Sorry honey, but even living for 400 years, you're still too stupid to realize that the world doesn't work that way. So they get mad at everyone for just being, I don't know, assholes? They're like a grandpa with a grudge against gay people, but the source of the grudge comes from the fact that your grandpa just isn't into some juicy frankfurter. So people who like Frankfurter scare him for no reason? He just doesn't understand. Dwarves think that elves are too fruity and aloof, because an elf knows how to laugh and sing without 12 beers in their gut. They share elves' passion for craftsmanship and a hatred for orcs, so they quote-unquote get along. They see halflings as like little hippies, because a halfling can sit back and spend a whole day smoking a pipe while reading comic books and be okay with it, and dwarves think that they're just not worth shit because they don't, mine all the time. And humans are also assholes, so they get along. Dwarves do have some redeeming factors, or I guess at the very least respectable ones. Mainly their passion for art, their courage in the face of adversity, and their loyalty. Dwarves really like accomplishing things, so when they set out to craft or create something or defend someone, they treat it like life or death. That's why their art and weapons are all mastercraft. The last details on my bullet point list of things to ramble about are their religion and sub-dwarves. Moradin is a patriarchal deity, the father of all dwarves and the embodiment of their ideals, which are literally just make shit, burning forges, family, and defense. That's all you have to know about Moradin. As for sub-races, we have mountain dwarves, or the default character select. That's the thing I've mostly been describing this whole time. Then we have hill dwarves that no one has ever actually integrated into their campaigns as a nation. I think they're supposed to be a bit nicer to other races, and they like trading goods more, and they take everything a little less seriously. Then we have Duragar, dudes from way underground that got turned purple by alien squid men. Also, because they're underground, they're slave traders. I'm gonna say it, fuck the Underdark. Not because it's deadly, but because all the diversity in it is just surface level. There's nothing interesting down there that doesn't have the word slave in it. Even my sweet Myconid children make zombies to serve them. But yeah, big cities and mountains full of grumpy little men who take everything too seriously. That's basically dwarves.